Hello beautiful glam girls, welcome back to another video. So I actually just finished just finished filming my first what I bought for my wedding haul, and so hopefully you already saw that, or maybe this will go up first, I don't know, but I thought maybe this will be a great video as an intro if this is the introduction to my wedding series. At this point it is probably November, October. I got married in September 21st 2018, and currently today it is March 29th. So yeah, I am filming all of my wedding stuff as I'm doing it. I'm gonna try to really make this a series and film as much as I can in advance, and then everything will come later in a wedding series so that I'm not spoiling the surprise and also keeping my privacy. In this moment I just feel like it's important to have privacy. I will be sharing things like on Instagram, of course, cake tastings and my ring, of course, things like that, but as far as getting too much into planning when things are as I'm doing it, I don't think I'm going to be doing that too much, and that's why I'm doing it now. So I hope it helps you guys if you are currently planning your wedding. I have been planning literally not too long, okay? Just started planning, but I have gotten so much done and I feel very, very accomplished. I feel very proud of what I have done so far. I think I am very much on the right track. And I only have less than 6 months to plan my wedding. So, you know, we just decided out of the blue that we were ready. And we were like, let's do this. Let's do it in September. It's only March. Let's do it in September. So we started planning literally the day it was 66 months until the day of our wedding. We started planning to the day. So we literally started at 6 months. So now it is, you know, a little under 6 months. And yeah, I've gotten a lot done so far. I've already purchased things are already coming. I've gotten almost all my decor done and out of the way. I am doing we're doing cake tastings already. I already know what wedding band I want. He pretty much knows what wedding band he wants, like literally the band, not like music. We know the style of wedding we want. We know the kind of food we want. It's all now just finding the people to book and really get everything in motion. I already bought my dress. I mean, I'm on the fast track here because some people take up to 2 years to plan their weddings. I have 6 months, so I really want to get everything done. Even if I get it done in 2 months and the rest is chilling, something's always gonna happen, and it's just really good. I want to be done by the time the summer comes. I would say August. I want to be really sure that I'm done, and the rest is just finalizing things and, you know, that kind of stuff. So as I'm planning, I thought it'd be fun to do a video where I give you guys my advice for planning. Of course, because I'm newly engaged, I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos about it. I'm watching a lot of advice videos, and a lot of these advice videos are from people who are already married or already are like a year into their planning. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun for someone who's a bride-to-be, or yeah, you know, a bride-to-be, to talk about what has helped them as soon as they started planning. Like, so if you have just started planning, so have I. So we're going through it together right in the moment. Instead of me in hindsight giving you advice, this is me giving you advice as I'm also going through it. And I thought it was a little bit different because, you know, sometimes hindsight is too much. And brides that have already been through so much, they give you so much advice about what they've gone through in the last 2 years and after the wedding. Whereas somebody who's going through it in the moment, you just need someone who understands what it feels like right now and what's important to you in this moment and what your mindset is. Someone who can understand that. Because I really didn't find anyone who was making videos as they were planning and kind of giving advice about what they were doing in the moment, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm doing today. So I made a list, and I think it's a pretty good one. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that you could cover. This is just what I think right now is important. So, speaking of important, the number one thing I wrote here, I have it listed. So number one is decide what's most important. So decide what you have to have at your wedding. Decide what things are the most important to you for your wedding. If that's the venue, then now you know that you have to plan around your venue, which is what I decided was most important to me. For me, it was, I want a beach wedding. I am not budging. I don't want a big venue. I don't want a ballroom. I want to be outside at the beach. That was the most important thing to me. I was not budging. So I had to plan my budget. I had to plan everything else around the fact that we're going to be outside. And that's what kind of shaped everything else from there. So definitely decide what's most important to you. If it's getting married at the beach, or a destination wedding, or you know, a wedding with a lot of bridesmaids, or a lot of this or that, those things will really shape how you plan. Because if you want 12 bridesmaids, you might need 2 years to plan your wedding, because those people have to now prepare so much, and you also are going to have to plan so much for those bridesmaids and then the groomsmen. If you want a destination wedding, that's something people have to prepare for. That's something you have to prepare for. That's a lot of you know, work that's going to go into it. And then you have to decide from there who's most important to invite to your destination wedding. So decide what's most important for you for your wedding, and that will kind of shape what your wedding is starting to look like. Because for example, if you know you're not very traditional and you don't want an extravagant wedding, now you start to get a vision of what's important for you at your wedding. Number 2 is be prepared for the expenses of your venue. For example, mine is turning out to be very expensive because it's outside. And I wrote here, nothing, you know, I wrote outdoor like mine, crazy, because there's nothing there. Make sure it is truly cheaper. And what I mean by that is sometimes you look at venues and they're $5,000, $7,000, and everything's all included. It's a beautiful ballroom, they have a sit-down dinner, they have the bar in-house, and they have a, you know, outside water lakefront view and a gazebo, and you're thinking, oh my god, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, that's so much, we could just do it outside. But remember, when you do it outside, you have to supply every single thing. And that's one thing I didn't realize until I started planning to be outside. And I was like, oh shit, we have to supply the tables, the chairs, the dining, the plates, the cups. We have to supply everything everyone drinks, everything everyone eats, garbage cans. I mean, you know, every possible thing you could think of, the water, the alcohol, like everything. There's no, you know, venue to ask people for something. There's nobody to say, hey, can you ask the maitre d' for more plates? No, you have to supply it all, and it gets expensive, okay? It can be $2,000 just to rent tables, chairs, and silverware, depending on where you're renting it, how far it needs to be delivered. You know, all these things add up. It really does. You think, oh, it's just $6 a chair. $6 times 60 people, 100 people, it adds up. Before you know it, it is literally $2,000 to have 80 guests in an outside wedding. So make sure that it is actually going to be cheaper to use your venue. If it is not, and you decide, you know what, for $5,000 we could have a whole venue, definitely realize that, and don't be turned off by the fact that a venue costs $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. It really depends how many guests you have is what your budget is going to be. I'm telling you, after 50 people, it's skyrocket. Number 3 is have a vision and stick to it. Buy what you really know you love and make mock-ups using certain apps. I'm gonna explain in parts, and I'll show you guys my mock-ups. Since my wedding already happened, I can share them now. So what I mean is, have a vision, make a Pinterest board. I don't know about you guys, but I had a Pinterest board since the moment we got engaged, which was 4 years ago. I had a beach wedding Pinterest board, and that has been what I have stuck to this whole time planning, because I had that board for 4 years. I knew for a fact everything on that board is what I truly wanted. I was really happy with everything on that board. I've wanted all of that stuff for 4 years, and now planning it again, I love everything on it, and I'm sure of everything, and I don't want to look at anything else. I have gone with that vision. I'm sticking with it. I'm buying things that look like that, and I'm not doing any more research. I'm not looking at other people's weddings. I have decided to stick to what I know, what I like, and create a wedding look from scratch using my vision. Don't let, you know, don't get overwhelmed. There's so many types of weddings out there, so many types of decor, and you might have a personality like mine where you like a little bit of nautical, but you like a little bit of romantic, but you like a little bit of rustic, but you like glamorous, but you like contemporary, and you like a little bit of modern. And you'll start looking at all these different weddings and you'll try to understand how to incorporate. Don't do that. Take what you like, make a vision board, and go from there. Don't think you have to follow one style. Take what you like, make your own vision, and then once you buy things, don't look at anything else. Don't let yourself think, oh, well, what if I would have done this, or what if I would have done that? You will make yourself confused and you will get overwhelmed. And then when I say make mock-ups, I mean take the pictures of everything you want, you know, find it online. This is the tablecloth I want. And use this app called PixArt. So this is literally what it's called. It's called PixArt. And then you're going to go to the plus sign, go to edit. And then you're going to, you know, take whatever, you know, picture you have. So I don't know, you can edit pretty much anything, right? You can add something into it. So let's say I want to add this bow, right? You can see all the pictures I had from making my mock-ups. You can put this bow anywhere by going to cutout, and then you can color in the part of the picture. I'm just gonna do it messily just to show you guys. You can color in the part that you want, and it kind of does like a smart cut where it kind of makes the lines for you, and then you can place that onto your picture, and then before you know it, you have an entire mock-up of your wedding tables. So I'll put a picture here of what the mock-up looked like, and hopefully it came out that way. But everything in my mock-ups I bought. So what I did was I took the pictures from the website, from what I purchased, so it was the real thing, and I put them in this app. And I made literal collages so I could literally see, because I'm a visual person, what it looked like. It helps so much, and it really makes you feel confident because you can see what it looks like. And it makes you feel like, I love that, that's beautiful. And you don't have to think, is it gonna come together? It helps so much. Number 4 is look into your wedding date, check the weather, and check if it's a high wedding time, because then you're gonna be competing with other couples. So I checked the weather, but I didn't think to check if it was going to be a busy weekend that weekend. I decided to do it on the 21st, not because it was a Friday, but because that's the day we met. And so the day we get married is going to be the day we met, and it'll be our 9-year anniversary of the day we met. And that's why we chose it. And I thought, oh, it's September. Like, who gets married in September? Like, high time is the summer. Girl, I didn't know that ever since 2016, September and October weddings are just as high as June weddings. So literally, September has become the new June. And it's like, fuck, I had no idea. I didn't think I was going to be competing with other couples. And actually there's other couples getting married in Connecticut the same day I'm getting married, which is where I'm getting married. And I had no idea. So just make sure that you know what date works for you, so you're not competing, because vendors in your area are gonna raise their prices, because now they know that they're wanted by different people, especially if you're doing it in a small town or a not so busy city where there's only like 10 good vendors. Then they all know that, oh, there's 6 couples in town competing, let's all raise our prices. So know when you're getting married and if it makes sense for you, and know that, you know, you're going to be competing with other couples, and you're also going to be paying probably a little bit more from the vendors hiking up their prices. Number 5, pick your minister first. It's important. So I just say minister because that's all I know, but justice of the peace or priest or whatever. We're doing like kinda non-denominational, spiritual, kinda Catholic, kinda Christian ceremony. And so I wanted to pick that person first because I thought this is the most important part of the wedding, nothing else. It is the fact that we are getting married. That's the most important part of the entire situation. Like, it's a wedding. So to me, it made sense to pick my minister first. I also wanted to pick them first because I thought it would kind of like shape the rest of the wedding and kind of make me feel like this is the most important thing, us actually getting married, and having that whole situation sorted out just made me feel a lot less stressed and made me feel very ready for the rest of the planning. And he's a really nice guy, and I really connected with him. I felt comfortable, and I also just felt like it's important to have that person who is going to counsel you, who can answer your questions. My minister also does premarital counseling, so he offered himself for the next 6 months for anytime we have questions, anything we want to know, we can hop on a Skype call with him and actually get counseling from him. That's an amazing thing to have from someone who's going to marry you. That is a big deal. If you're a spiritual person, you'll understand that that is very important. Number 6 is don't invite people you really don't feel like inviting. I kind of wish I would have listened to, I kind of listened to this, but at the same time I didn't. Like, I still invited those people who were like, you're family-ish, but you really haven't talked to them in a while, and you kind of invite them out of obligation. And I wrote here, don't invite people you really don't care to invite. It's expensive to have a lot of people. So sometimes you'll have like those good 30 or 40 people that you're like, I love them, I want them at my wedding. And then you have the other 30 or 40 people who are like the kids of everyone, the husbands of everyone, the wives of everyone, the dates of everyone, somebody's uncle, somebody's friends, you know, casual friends that maybe they really don't need to be at at your wedding, people that you really haven't talked to in a while or haven't seen in a while, people who, you know, you're somewhat good family friends, but you don't really go to each other's events, or you know, they got married and they didn't really invite you, or just people, we all know those people in our lives that are kind of like family, but maybe they don't have to be at your wedding. Nix them, cut them. Don't feel bad. Don't listen to what your parents are going to say or your mom's going to say or anyone else. Don't feel bad. Do what's best for you and your budget, because you are literally paying for those people to be at your wedding. You're paying for what they're going to do. You're literally paying for their seat. Like, you are paying them to sit there. If you don't really care if they're there, do not invite them. Like, do not. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about your decision. And I kind of wish I could go back and like uninvite maybe 10 of those people, because from 40 people to 50 people is a lot of money. From 50 to 60 is a lot of money. And if you really don't care about them being there, you're going to be really annoyed when you realize how much it costs for them to be there and you really didn't even give a shit if they came. Number 7 is make your own save the dates. This is obvious. I think a lot of people do this now, younger people especially. We just make a little save the date on our phone. There's so many apps and Photoshop and all this stuff that are really easy to use. I didn't even use Photoshop. I literally just use a bunch of apps on my phone. And I made my own save the date. I also used an app that made the water look like it was moving. So that was really cool. I'll just show you guys quickly what ours looked like. So I'm just going to cover some of the information. But if you can see in the left-hand corner, the water is actually moving, and it's just a really pretty simple save the date. It just has the beach behind it, and it's a picture of the water with a heart in the sand, and it just says save the date. It has the date, and then it says for the wedding of Gabriella and Antonio, and then it has a little bit on the bottom of the address, and then it says invitation to follow. And then I just use an app that makes it into a GIF, and it makes the water look like it's moving. And I thought, how cool is that? With technology, we can do so many different things. And I just texted that to everyone, because save the dates are super informal. And you're going to spend money on paper invitations if you are sending paper invitations. And you don't need to send a paper save the date and a paper invitation. It's 2018. Save the money. You don't need to do that. Just text or email everyone. And if it's an older person, have a family member help them out. Word spreads. They'll find it. Don't worry about it. Number 8 is make a wedding website and a budget. So I use theknot.com, and that is what I've been using to find vendors to make my budget. It is super helpful. They give you a checklist. I think if you watch any bridal video, they will tell you to use the knot or wedding wire. I use the knot because when we first got engaged and we were kind of somewhat, I was looking into planning. So I used the Knot's website because it was the website that I was the most familiar with, and when I had first gotten engaged, that was the website that I looked into to start planning and stuff, and it was just the website I was comfortable with, and I think I already had an account there or something. It was just what I gravitated towards, but you can use any website that works for you. I had to charge my camera for a while, and so I was doing like unboxings on Instagram, and I barely remember what I was talking about, but I know that I was talking about make a wedding website and a budget. So on the website, your wedding website, you'll also have, they'll give you the option to make a budget, and it helps. You can put in how much you want to spend, and then as you start buying things, you mark it off as booked, and then you put how much you spent. And then I also recommend making your own budget on the side, so like using an Excel spreadsheet, and so you put like the item, the vendor, the estimated cost, and then how much you actually spent, and then you can put notes. So what I like to do is I put you know, if I put booked as the column, and then if it's something I ordered online, I just put yes. That way I know I either bought it or I booked it. And then next to it, I put the shipping, estimated shipping date. That way I know that day to be home, or to just make sure, keep in mind that that day that package is coming. That way nothing is getting lost and I'm not losing money and just keeping track. And that you want to make sure that your estimated cost is how much you want to spend, and then your actual cost is either that amount or less. Or if you're gonna go over that, then just take the money away from something else, just to help you stay in your budget. It's just really important to write everything down. I'm pretty organized, but I'm not like the most anal, most organized person ever. I just have to write everything down because I don't have any memory capacity. It's very, very bad. I have to write everything down. Even if it's a note on my phone, even if I have to text it to myself, just I have to get it out and put it down on paper or on my phone somewhere. So if I'm emailing and they're like, oh yeah, you have a cake tasting this day at this time, as soon as I see it, I will just plug it into my calendar ASAP. So I have 2 planners. This is my main planner. I got this in Vegas in the Kate Spade store, so it's just a Kate Spade, but I don't know if it's still available. Obviously this is for 2018, so I don't know if it's still available, but it has a Paris map all over it, and I just felt like that was kind of vision boarding for me because I actually want to go. I'm planning on us going to Paris for our honeymoon, so I think this is just kind of like full circle that I bought a 2018 agenda. In 2017 I bought this agenda with Paris on it, and it just kind of made it more real and more you know, accessible. So that's just a little note, you know, get an agenda or a calendar that has something kind of vision boardy for you. So if you want a new car, put it on your vision board. If you want to go to a certain place, like for me it was Paris, get an agenda that has a Paris map all over it. Isn't it so cute? It literally has all these places in Paris to visit. It's literally a map. So anyway, so this is my main agenda. So in here it has every month. It also has a place obviously to put notes, so it just has plain pages in between. It also has pages with every single date and notes, so you can put in specific notes for those dates. And then it also has clearly, you know, you have your actual full calendar with all your dates where you can write in things, so you can see this was February. You know, I don't use every single box constantly. I put kind of like the most important things in these, but then I use the agenda a lot for the note pages, and I write in there a lot, especially if I'm planning a party. For example, when I was throwing my dinner party for Thanksgiving, I have like pages and pages in here. So instead of having a whole separate notebook, I just use the pages that say notes. And it, my fiance is calling. Yes. Okay, be careful, please don't die. Hello? Wow, he just hung up on me. So you can see I use these pages that say notes literally as a notebook. I do have a separate notebook, but I just find it easier to just put everything in here, just so that, like I said, everything is out. So every time I'm like just thinking and thinking, registry ideas, just write everything down. Stores I want to go to, things that I still have to book. And then I write notes next to it, like just constantly writing and keeping track and keeping notes of how much you're spending, what you need to spend on, what you need to buy, because it just really, really helps. So definitely that's, I guess part of this is also, you know, get some type of agenda, some type of notebook, some type of wedding planner, whatever it is that you need to use to help you keep track of everything. Number 9 is really important, and this is, I wrote down, compare prices and rentals as opposed to purchasing, because you can resell. Renting is not always cheaper, and I think as a society we've kind of gotten it in our minds that renting everything is cheaper. I mean, overall everyone in this country rents more than they buy apartments, houses. We lease our cars, we finance things, like everything is renting. We don't just flat out buy in this country. We live on credit, we live on renting, and I think the same goes for planning a party. We think, oh, I'll just rent everything, it's way cheaper and I don't have to clean it up and I don't have to worry about where it goes and blah blah blah. And I kind of somewhat thought that way until I realized how expensive it was to rent. Now obviously, you know, you're not gonna buy 50 chairs, because what would you do with that unless you really wanted it? But a regular person obviously doesn't need to buy 50, 150 chairs or whatever. So clearly the tables, chairs, things like that, you will have to rent. But certain things end up being very expensive. For example, my centerpieces for my table, they are $70 a piece alone, which is obviously extremely expensive, but it's literally what I've wanted for years, and I was not gonna not have that as my centerpiece. So I made sure that I cut down other places to make room for that in my budget. So when I was looking up these centerpieces to rent, it was $35 to rent them, and I wanted 7 of them. So 35 times 7 was $245, which is not that much, but they were also not the color that I truly wanted. Now, the ones that I found online that I could purchase were the right color, and it was $70, which you think, oh wow, that's a lot of money. But I'm only gonna get 5 because I downsized how many tables I needed, and I also downsized how many centerpieces I wanted. So at $70 times 5, it's $350, which is still more. It's $100 more, but at $350, I can resell 4, if not all of them. If I keep 1 or 2 for myself, that still leaves me with 3 that I could sell at $50, and I could make back $150. Whereas renting, I would flat out spend $245 and not make anything back. So I thought it was a lot worth it more to me, just because it was what I truly wanted. I made room for it in my budget, and I can resell them later on and make back some of that money, because they are very expensive. I haven't seen them for anywhere cheaper than $70. So if I sell mine for $45, $50 a piece, I know that they will sell, because that is a lot cheaper than they are online, and I make back some of that money later on. So it's a win-win. Rather than renting and not being able to get anything from it, I can make some of that money back. Another thing about renting rather than purchasing, when I was planning, or as I'm planning, is I've noticed, for example, the charger plates that I wanted are the clear charger plates with the gold beading. I don't know if that's like really popular right now or what, but everywhere I tried to find them, they were extremely expensive. To rent them, it was $5 a plate. And this is just a silver, this is just a plate that you put underneath as decoration for your dinner plate. Like, so this is what it looks like. It's the plate under, and then your dinner plate. So if you're not familiar, a charger is almost like a coaster for your drink, if that makes sense. So you're not gonna be using the coaster, you're drinking from your cup. So it's the same idea, that the charger goes underneath your dinner plate for decoration and extra support for when you're eating, to catch any extra food, and it's just more of a decor thing. The ones I wanted were $5 a plate to rent, and they were also about $100 for maybe a set of 12. Now if you're buying 50, that's a lot of money for plates that no one really cares about. So I did my research, and I changed my decor a little bit to fit the gold chargers I found on Dollar Tree's website for $1 each. So for $60, I was able to get 50 something charger plates for $1 each, as opposed to $300 to rent the other chargers. So with that extra $300 now, I made room in my budget for the centerpieces or for something else that I really wanted. So just keep in mind that sometimes renting is not always cheaper than buying. Then number 10, I think this is something that's important for everyone, and I think that any bride who's either getting married or has already gotten married will say this is probably the #1 thing, is to not skimp on a photographer and a videographer. Those 2 things are the only memories you will have for the rest of your entire life of your wedding day. Obviously you're gonna have memories, you're gonna have feelings, you're gonna have those thoughts, and everyone will have their own little videos and pictures, but to get those clear, crisp, amazing, beautiful photos that you can really look back on for the rest of your life and pass on to your children, you really want to invest in a good photographer. And it's very expensive these days, so if you're trying to plan a wedding under $5,000, half of your budget will probably go on a photographer if you really can't afford more. But don't rely on someone who takes nice pictures, or someone who knows someone, or a family friend. I don't recommend going that way. I find it always better to get someone who's outside, who's impartial, who will take the job seriously and not kind of do a shitty job because they're your friend and they're giving you a discount. Like, I want someone who's getting paid full price, who doesn't know me, who is there to do a job and will take it seriously. Being a plus size model for a living, it's really important to have amazing photos and videos. So I hope this helped you guys. I hope you understand what I was saying. It was a pretty long video, but I really wanted to get all my thoughts out there. And I'm home alone right now, so I just had the juices flowing, and that sounds weird. And I really wanted to sit down and get my thoughts out, and I think it would be fun for myself later to kind of hear what I thought was important. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next. Don't forget to stay glam.